Hear what's in store for the River City in a few minutes on All Things Peoria. This is All Things Peoria. I'm Jody Holtz. From the humble beginnings of creating stop-motion animation films with Legos at age 7, Peoria native William Jacobs is a self-taught filmmaker now looking to create his first feature film entitled Poet in a Modern World right here in the place that was once an entertainment mecca during the vaudeville era. Jacobs established Mourning Films in Peoria in 2018 as a monument to cinema's origins. In this conversation, he tells me about why he's drawn to Peoria, filmmaking, and his upcoming feature film project.
Peoria is, it's a wellspring for the arts. There's so much talent here, and I was so fortunate to be placed in this city, to grow up here, and to collaborate with other talents. And there's so many opportunities, and I'm just tremendously grateful. I'd like to revivify that phrase, will it play in Peoria?
Yeah. And so I guess for all of those reasons, is that why you kind of chose to establish Mourning Dove Films here in Peoria as opposed to, someplace like Chicago, Los Angeles, that is like a known film industry?
The conventional route that most filmmaking aspirants take is to move to these entertainment capitals or these larger cities. What I've noticed is these young artists who are still developing their identity and finding meaning in their life end up being swallowed whole, and they lose themselves. It's quite easy to do that when you're far from home and away from your family. By remaining in a city like Peoria, there isn't the tumult of the major cities. It's quiet. The people are very supportive, because when you set out to make something, it's quite big. There is a unifying force when someone sets out to create something here, and everyone wants to be involved, and it's something that brings together the community, and it's not just a part of the noise. By remaining here, I've been just astounded by how much support I'm met with, so I'm glad to be here. I know that you finished your production on your short film, A Moment Is Enough, which I understand is a prelude to your debut feature film that you're looking to do here, Poet in a Modern World. So could you kind of just give like a synopsis of the story behind each of these productions and I guess how you envision them working together? So A Moment Is Enough is a short excerpt of the greater project, Poet in a Modern World. I decided to take an excerpt from the screenplay and film it to serve as a proof of concept, which is a strategy that's implemented in the industry to try to garner resources and funding. So Poet in a Modern World is a story that follows two souls who are at friction with the society that's slowly crumbling morally and culturally. They find themselves at friction and searching for something beyond ephemera. They're looking for the things that endure, and particularly beauty. It's evident that today we live in an uglified age, and it's sometimes dejecting to face the world as it is, with all the upheaval and politics. These two characters, one a young pupil and the other a grieving middle-aged art instructor, help each other find resolve to endure the climate that they find themselves in. And it's ultimately a story about family, home, tradition, and hope. It's a story that can only be told in the Midwest. There's a lot of that Midwest spirit imbued in the film, and I'd like to give the Midwest a proper voice. Yeah. And so, of course, you have to talk about what distinguishes you from other filmmakers, which is the way you actually film. Can you talk a little bit about that? Yes. I've transitioned to the 16 millimeter film format. It was a cheaper alternative when 35 millimeter film was being manufactured. It's approximately half of a strip of 35 millimeter film. And there is a resurgence to this medium today because of the experience of shooting on the film itself. Unlike digital, with film, you're working with something truly physical, and it's subject to a lot of damage and particularly light. When you're handling the film in a light bag, when you're changing film magazines to load into the camera, any sweat or grazing of the film will also damage it. So there is a delicacy, and there are things at risk. I believe there is a resurgence or a need to return to the celluloid film format because of this need for consequences, need for stakes, because with the digital format, you can continuously film and film and film. And so there is this excess, this decadence that has arisen because of digital filmmaking. People might wonder, well, why did I transition myself? And it's mostly to do with the asceticism behind 16 millimeter filmmaking and not its aesthetics. By shooting on 16 millimeter film, there's a particular discipline that it demands, and it helps everyone operate at their utmost because that delicacy that I mentioned earlier is in mind on the set.
And so obviously films, take a lot of money and resources to make, but I understand you're launching an Indiegogo fundraising campaign to raise money to sort of make this happen.
Yes, and we're offering contributors perk rewards. So for those that are wanting to give to the project, Poet in a Modern World, they can receive things such as a 4K download of the film, a 3-inch strip of a print from the film. We're giving away the film cans used during production. So there are some charming things that we're offering, and we're wanting to raise $25,000. However, there are Indiegogo fees, so we're asking $28,000. And of course, financing a film is the most difficult part of filmmaking. It takes quite a long time to gather all the resources if you want to make a film properly. I believe there will be people out there that will share interest in what we're doing and connect with the story and our mission.
That was William Jacobs speaking to me about his filmmaking journey here in Peoria. Jacobs' Indiegogo fundraiser launches today and closes on November 3rd. Find this story on WCBU.org to learn how you can help bring Poet in a Modern World to life and to watch the prelude to the film entitled A Moment Is Enough. You're listening to All Things Peoria.
Support for WCBU comes from the General Wayne A. Downing Peoria International Airport. Flying through PIA can take you anywhere.